there! Welcome back to Elements of Art. Remember the painting we started last lesson with Natasha? It's a great start, but don't you think it's looking pretty flat right now? Today, we're going to figure out how to add more realism by unmasking the secrets of hue, shade, tint, and tone. Think about the colors you can see in a real apple. I'm seeing pink, maroon, and a more muted color, depending on how the light hits it. Are these colors on the current color wheel we've studied? Not quite, but let's get mixing and we'll learn how they fit. You can work along with Natasha in creating these color variations today. If you would like to participate in either adding to our color wheels or by adding to the fruit and vegetable painting from the previous lesson, make sure you have your essentials: red, yellow, and blue paints, along with white and black. You'll also need water, a paintbrush, and your canvas or PDF. Now, let's get started. First up, let's talk about hue. Hue is just another word for color. When you view our basic color wheel, what you are seeing are hues. But what about more complex colors, like those I mentioned at the start? These are variations of the basic hues we find on our color wheel. So, how do we create these variations? Let's find out. What do you think a tint is? If you've ever known someone with tinted windows, you may think it's a dark color. However, in art, it's the opposite. A tint is a lighter version of a hue. Specifically, tint is created by adding white into any hue, making it lighter. This is how we get soft colors like baby blue or pastel yellow. The lightness of your tint is dependent by how much white is added. So where do you think I might see tints in this painting? Well, imagine a light source in this image. Maybe the sun shining on these fruits and veggies. The shine and reflections that fall on the produce are tints. Tints can be found in highlights. To view this, let's look closely at where the light hits this example of an apple. Do you see the pink tones in the area of the highlight? That is our tint. I think it is time to move to Natasha and let her show us what to do.
All right, let's try and create pink. What color do you think you will need in addition to white? If your answer is red, you are right. Now, what color do you think is stronger, white or red? Well, white can easily be changed or discolored. Think about how easy it is to get a new pair of white shoes dirty. So when creating any tint, it's best to start with the white and add small amounts of the other color. If you add white to the color instead, it will take a very long time to get to a pale tint. So with that in mind, begin with a blob of white. Start to add in some red. Slowly. You will quickly arrive at pink. Pink is a tint of red.
For the painting, Natasha is going to identify a light source and focus on mixing and applying tints for the highlights on each fruit and vegetable, enhancing their realism. Feel free to pause the video and work on adding highlighting tints to your painting or PDF now or after the video.
Now, where there is light, there is shadow. And in art, shadow is normally found opposite of our light source. So let's check out our apple image again. Do you see the darker reds on the apple in the areas of less light? That is an example of our next color variation, shade. In art, shade is the opposite of tint. So what do you think that means? Well, it's what you get when you add black to any hue, making it darker. This is how we create deep, rich colors like maroon or navy. Let's try and create a maroon for the shadows of our apple. Now, to create this color, you will need red and black. Now, what color do you think is stronger, black or red? Black is a very strong color. It can overtake the brightness of other colors very easily. When creating any shade, it's best to start with the hue and add small amounts of the black slowly. Stronger colors are slowly added to weaker colors to reach your desired results. Let's begin with a blob of red. Now start to add in some black, slowly. You will soon get to a maroon color. For our painting, I'll find where my shadows should fall and work on creating and painting in shades for the shadows on each fruit and vegetable. This will ground them and add to the 3D feel of the foods. You can pause the video and work on adding shades to your painting or PDF. Now we have a great variety of hues, tints, and shades. But we do have one more color variation to talk about. Sometimes a color can be too vivid or bold. If you observe my painting here, you'll see that everything is very intense in color. In nature, not everything is always quite so bright. So what color variation will allow for even more naturalism? Well, it just so happens it's our last variation on hue, tone. Have you ever been told to tone down your music, or maybe even your attitude? Tone in art is a less intense hue. So in what way do you think a tone is created? Did you come up with a guess? Tone is created by adding a combination of both black and white, which is gray, to a hue. This process tones down the intensity of the color, making it more subtle or less bright.
Now Natasha is going to create a tone that we can incorporate into our painting. Knowing what you know about the color wheel so far, and the definition of tone, what colors will we need to complete this? I bet she plans to make a dull red-orange to add into the apple.
We will need yellow and red to create orange, and black and white to create gray. Then we will mix the gray and the red-orange together. Let's give it a try. We'll start by mixing them both together in small parts. If what we create is not toned down enough, we add more gray. If it's too gray, we add more red-orange. Work on balancing the colors until you create a good tone. I'll be adding this to areas of the apple where the red isn't quite as bright and intense.
Tones are perfect for creating a sense of calmness and sophistication in your work. They're not as bright as tints or as dark as shades, but offer a soft and rich quality. You can pause now to work on creating and using tones. You may have seen videos online of people doing something called color matching, where they have a specific color they're trying to create exactly, and they mix and mix until they arrive at that color. Well, their success is not by luck. The people who make that look so effortless have a strong knowledge of the color wheel and color mixing. Now, at the start of the video, I mentioned how variations of hues are not found on a simple color wheel. That is true. But there are more advanced color wheels that include these variations. When we begin to fit together all of these color categories and terms, it falls into something called color theory. We still have more to learn in the upcoming lessons, but let's review what we covered today. We learned that hue is another way to refer to the name of a color. Tint is made by mixing a hue with white, shade is made by mixing a hue with black, and tone is made by mixing a hue with gray. An understanding of hue, tint, shade, and tone is practical knowledge for artists, designers, and anyone looking to use color to communicate. As you experiment with these variations in your own work, you'll discover the power and subtlety they can add to your creations. For instance, now the painting you created with Natasha has so much more life in it, right? You did a great job today, and I hope you continue to have fun with your color mixing practice. Stay tuned for our next lesson, where we'll dive even deeper into the world of color. Remember, art is all around you.
Hey, hey.